So the comment from Leonard Fournette has been floating around, right? And it's all about the fact that Leonard Fournette made mention that he wanted to go after Cam Newton because he wants to build a winner. And it was no disrespect to Gardner Minshew, but his ultimate feeling is Cam Newton's been to a Super Bowl, and so that's what he wants there, is the best opportunity to get his team to the next level. Look, for just a second, let's forget about stats. Let's forget about all the bullshit. Let's forget about Fournette's rushing numbers. Let's forget about passing numbers from other players that have been there. Let's not think about Nick Foles and the injury. Let's just play the right now game. All right. The right now game simply is this. Cam Newton, as many people know, has become a liability and a huge risk factor financially for any football team that decides to take him on. And they're probably not going to take him on specifically because of that. Look, Cam Newton is not a guy that's, in trouble. And, you don't hear about him getting arrested. You don't hear about drug use or DV charges. You don't hear about any of that kind of stuff. So he's not a risk in that sense. But financially, every football team, one of the things that they look at, really any team at the professional level, is this guy worth the money? And one of the things that I have discussed over and over and over again, basically ad nauseum, is part of what makes a player worth the money is the ticket sales, the jersey sales, the money that is going to be there. Because as we saw with the Jordan thing, even though the Chicago Bulls were a bad basketball team, people were showing up just to watch him play, which is something that I have talked about umpteen times with guys like Steph Curry, something that I've talked about umpteen times with guys like James Harden. Even if it is an opposing team, they will show up to watch these guys play. The Jaguars could go 10-1 with Cam Newton or Gardner Minshew or who the hell ever, and they could be playing a 1-10 football team on the road. Will fans show up regardless to not only, support their own team, but also say, well, you know what, at least I got to watch Cam Newton play. Because see, if it was like that, the Carolina Panthers would not have let him go. Look, winning is a part of what makes a player worthwhile. Because with the winning come the jersey sales, come the ticket sales, come the TV deals, come the sponsorships, all those things. And Gardner Minshew is a very marketable guy. All right. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world. I wouldn't even put him in the top 10. There's a lot of quarterbacks that I would put before him. But the fact of the matter is he's very marketable. And so the idea is to bring that marketing power to the franchise in order to give themselves more money so that way they can go out and find other players. Guys that they can get around him to maybe make him look a little bit better than he really is. Look, he made some plays. He's got some footwork in the pocket. He can get away from guys. He's an exciting guy to watch to a certain extent. He's very popular with the media and with the fans. But if you ask me, he's really just a Tim Tebow 2.0. And I'm a Tebow fan, but I'm telling you right now, the way that he handles himself, it's just the opposite. Instead of talking about his religious practices, the guy's all about mustaches and, partying and all these stories that go on around him and, when he was in college and all this kind of, crazy stuff. And we all kind of build up this hype. So because he's so marketable, you really think they're going to get rid of him? I mean, come on, they just got rid of Nick Foles and he won a Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, mind you. And see, and this is what bothers me is people think that rings and going to Super Bowls, kind of like Leonard Fournette, are the only thing that really make a player. Tony Eason went to a Super Bowl, got annihilated. Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl, got annihilated. Chris Chandler went to a Super Bowl and got annihilated. It's really not as much about rings as people think it is. Like Peyton Manning, right? He's always talking about that rookie record that he set with the interceptions. Do you think he likes having that one and done record under his belt too? That's something he doesn't bring up. He brings up the interception thing, but I'd be willing to bet money that one and done deal probably sticks in his craw a little bit too. You see, these are records nobody wants to have. That nobody wants to be 0-1 in the Super Bowl. And sure, Cam Newton was an MVP, but also remember this. At that season, I think he was 17th in the NFL in passing yards. Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Russell Wilson, all these guys were having far and away better seasons. Now, I'm not the type of person to say that's all just going to fall on one player, because I really don't think that it does. And I knew going into that football game that the play calling needed to change at least a little bit for Carolina, because what they were trying to do was run these deep end routes, off the option play. They would have guys go 10, 15 yards out, even 20 yards out, and then you cut in. So it's called a deep end route. But they were taking it deep and then going in. I mean, usually you don't want to go more than 8 or 12 at the most and then in. But, when you're going 15, 20 yards and you've got pass rushers like Von Miller and Derek Wolfe and some of these other guys, I mean, do you really think, with cover guys like Chris Harris Jr. and Aqib Talib on the same football field that strategy was going to work? See, in the end, the Carolina Panthers really did kind of set themselves up for disaster. So I'm not going to say that it's all on Cam Newton, but I am going to say that he's very hit and miss. He'll have one great season and then another season that's very subpar. The injuries are starting to really add up. And so what these franchises are evaluating is Cam Newton worth of, 21, 23 million or something like that he's got coming up due from the Carolina Panthers. So anybody who wants to take that on is going to have to really assess whether or not it is going to be a good deal for them in every sense of the word. Are we going to win football games? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Can we afford this in the salary cap? What kind of hit? If we get Cam Newton, who do I have to get rid of in order to make space? You see, these are the questions and the problems that happens with these high-profile athletes who dominate a good chunk of salary cap space. I don't know that everybody wants to take a page from Tom Brady's playbook and continuously, take less money until he finally got the money that I think he just wants to retire on with Tampa Bay, and New England wasn't going to give it to him because they had for so long paid him so much money. And so Tom Brady goes out and he gets on his own, and I think this is just retirement money for him. The point of what I'm telling you is, I don't know that Cam Newton, risk versus reward to a lot of football teams out there, is going to be their guy. You have to understand that he's got to be the guy. And as far as Fournette goes and him being traded over it, look, once you start causing problems in the locker room, 9 times out of 10, dude, you're done. That's it. And that's the way the football team sees it right now. We've got our guy. Here you are. You're out saying you want somebody else. You're going to cause division in this locker room. And that's just something that we don't want. We don't need. We don't need the audience right now that the media is going to bring with it, because there's no sports going on. And so, of course, it's going to get a lot of fucking attention. I mean, they released The Last Dance early. That thing wasn't supposed to come out until, July, if I remember right? But because there's no sports, they said, man, to hell with this. We're just going to go ahead and put this thing out now in April. Because right now, the NBA playoffs will be going on. We'd be getting ready for the big draft and all this stuff, which we're still getting ready for NFL draft, but it's not the same that it usually is. So it's going to draw even more attention. And so the Jacksonville Jaguars are going, man, we're tight, bro. We're good on that. I mean, that's just the real reality of it. And like Scottie Pippen said, nobody is untradeable. I'm Drew Duncan, and as always, don't you dare touch that dial.